Okay, on the previous subchapter, we learned how to manage a site. So now we learn how to manage the people that come to our site, that known as visitor. Okay, so first and foremost, how you want to control the visitor. So first you have to have a regulation. Okay, so regulating visitor number, group size, and length of stay. So how you want to regulate it? Easy, ticket. By giving out the ticket, you have to pay before you enter this kind of area, or if you have to pay if you want to stay in this area. For example, if you give a ticket for someone, there you have 3 hours to discover all this area. So that how we want to protect, or we want to regulate the people that come to the place, that our place, that not as visitor. Second is using deterrent and enforcement. So just like I said before, have a regulation, so you have to enforce some regulation, or you have to enforce some of the thing that will help you. Okay, so the some of the enforcement, for example, the visitor can only visit until this kind of line, or until this kind of areas. If you want to visit the other area, you have to pay more. Okay, that's how you want to protect the area. Okay, that is communication with visitor. So you have to have communication with visitor, any media, any platform. For example, you can communicate using website, you can communicate with you can also communicate by using the classic way, just a poster, something like that. So when we communicating, we do not just communicate, we educate them. Okay, for example, how we want to teach them about sustainable way of development, how we want to sustainable way of action. So this way can be do by the communication. And fourth is providing education. So how we want to provide the education, we give them brochure before they enter the destination, and we give them some regulation so that it will educate them in the future, something like that. Okay, so next will be visitor management action. So this is the way how you want to manage the visitor. For example, is first is advanced reservation. Okay, so all this thing is about ticketing. Okay, so advanced reservation is benefit someone that can plan ahead, because they can reserve it advance. Okay, second is you can do by first come first serve basis, or just queuing. So this kind of thing is will benefit people that have a lot of time and also live nearby. Lottery, there are no group that will benefit from this kind of action, but you can control the number, because the lottery is not all the people will win the lottery to enter the place, something like that. Okay, and fees favor those who can pay. And lastly is eligibility requirement. For example, if you want to go to this area, you have to be in the age of 24 and know all the regulations, so it will benefit someone that have the requirement. Okay, and the second last is six is choosing management action. So what mean by choosing management action? So the management have to act in order to protect the protected area. Okay, so first of all, the first idea is not all impact of nature area is from the visitor. Yes, some of the impact is natural impact. For example, the meteor shower can destroy all the natural area just because of this disaster. Maybe the volcano eruption also will destroy the area. It's not because of visitor. Okay, second is impact can also result from the outside influence, for example the natural influence. Okay, and third area is the extent of impact also influence the action chosen. If the impact is severe, you have to a very you need to have a very strict action. If the impact is can be controlled, you also have to have that kind of action, control action. Okay, and lastly is the location and extent of impact influence the choice of management action. If it's severe, then you have to have a strict action. If it's not severe, then you can have a control action. Okay, so last but not least is managing the tourism industry. We want to conclude our chapter today with managing the tourism industry. So how we want to manage a tourism industry? So there are two strategy how to manage a tourism industry. Okay, so this is the general way how you want to manage the tourism industry. Two strategy. First is voluntary strategy, and second is regulatory strategy. So you can know what is this strategy just by their name. Voluntary mean a voluntary action. Regulatory, you have to enforce a regulation in order to protect the area. Okay, so first and foremost, we will talk about voluntary strategies. So voluntary strategy, there are four general way in voluntary strategy. For example, you have to have a code of conduct. Okay, this code of conduct will act as regulation, and you can be volunteer to abide with this code of conduct. Code of conduct just like regulation, a code of set of expectation, behavior, and rules written by industry member, governments, and also non-government organization. This all is not really force you to abide, but you need to abide voluntarily in order to protect the destination. Okay. Second is certificate, goodwill. Okay, if you do this kind of thing, you will receive the certificate, something like that. Okay, voluntary code, award, accreditation, and certificate. Okay, so if you voluntarily accept that kind of job, they will give you some prize, that is certificate, accreditation. Okay, and second is best environmental practice. You have to voluntarily do the action that will protect the environment, so that all the action will known as best environmental practice. Okay, and lastly, as environmental management system, that is system created by government or NGO in order to protect the environment. So this kind of thing is tool to manage and continually improve the environmental performance. So these tools, you can use it or you cannot use it, but it's better if you use the tool in order to enhance the environment, in order to protect the environment. Okay, and last but not least, just like I said before, regulatory. They have two strategies for regulatory: license and leases. Okay, so license is a certificate in order to document giving or official permission to undertake an activity. For example, if you want to have a pet tiger, something like that, you have to need a license, because we don't want people to have a tiger as their pet in a big number. Okay, if there are large number of people who want to have a tiger or other protected animals as their pet, the number of the animals will decrease and it will lead to extinction. So this kind of thing you need license. So that why license is one of the way how to protect the environment or how to protect the tourism that related to environment. Okay, leases. Leases generally issue where operator required to exclusive right to land or water. So before you go to a jungle or reserve places, sometimes you have to pay some of money and you will get a permit. So that permit is known as leases. Okay, before you go to a land or water places. Okay, something like that. And I think that's all from me. If you have any question, you can just WhatsApp me or you can just email me any of the question. Okay, Assalamualaikum. Bye bye.